Hello, welcome to Geeks Unleashed. It's episode 99.
99. Wow.
I'm Mark,
I'm Jasmine.
and new episodes come out most Wednesdays.
Most Wednesdays. We're doing the best we can. By the way, if you are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We would also really appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to our channel. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, we appreciate that as well. We would also love it very much if you would leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Podchaser.
And we would very much appreciate it. So on this week's episode, we'll be chatting about the San Diego Comic-Con, which is still fresh right now. And then we'll be jumping into all three Fantastic Beasts films. And that took me a while to get that right. Basically, we're going to be closing off our Wizard World Marathon. And you know, I'm actually glad that we've done this. Like, I have never really sort of delved in, I think, in detail. Or when I have done it, because everybody else has seen it, you don't really go to work or hang out with friends and go, "Oh, I watched Harry Potter last night." And people are like, "Yeah, okay, I've seen that."
Yeah, way to be 10 years behind, man.
Yeah, like, and so, but because me and you have been chatting about it, it's actually been I picked up things, I guess, or but it's been kind of fun to chat about something old. So
yeah, it's been nice to kind of revisit this. I actually had never seen the second and third Fantastic Beasts films. Like, I knew the big spoiler that happens in the second film, but I realized, like, once I started watching it, I was like, oh, I've never actually seen this one.
Yeah, I had seen the second one, but only seen it once. But the first one I watched a lot. Like, I really like the first one. So but anyway, we're not going to talk about anything that we may have watched or read or whatever this week. To be fair, I haven't watched that much.
Me neither.
I have read two comics, but we won't talk about those now. So we're going to jump straight into the San Diego Comic-Con news.
Oh, man, so much stuff happened at San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, I mean, do you know what? It's kind of come out of nowhere for me, San Diego Comic-Con. I know I didn't go, and I've never been. But I always remember, like, always been really hyped about it every year, because obviously so much stuff comes out, and it's like, oh my God, have you seen this? Oh my God, have you seen this? Like, and last night I was just sort of reading all the news and watching all the trailers, and I was like, wow, there's just one thing after another coming out here.
Yeah, I think they really showed out this year, because it's the first year back. I mean, they tried to do something like last November in person, and it wasn't really that big, but this is their first year, like, back full capacity since COVID. So I think everybody was just like a little bit more hype. So it just feels like there is a lot going on.
Yeah, it does. Like, the level of stuff that's come out, me and Jasmine said before we started recording, I mean, whilst I'm hyped, I feel like some of the things are like 3 years from now, and I'm like,
they get talking about stuff like, this is coming out in November 2025. I'm like, the hell, 2025? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing well, I do know what I'm doing in November of 2022, but it's still like, that's way too far out.
I feel like, I don't know. I get why they announce it, because I guess Marvel are like, well, we'll just get in front of it and just tell you ourselves before people like Bleeding Cool ruin it anyway.
Yeah. Well, somebody ruined it because Marvel had to file their patents or their trademarks or whatever for Avengers, Secret Wars and Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. They had to file those patents before they could announce it. And so as soon as they filed those patents, someone was like, Marvel filed this, that, and the other, and everybody was like, ooh, that means they're going to announce it. And sure enough, they did the very next day. nothing is secret anymore.
Pretty much when any website, because they either do the patents or they register a website for that movie, then that's it. It's even before the studio gets to announce it. So but yeah, we've sort of written down a couple of things that we're excited about. Actually, I'll start from the bottom of this list, as you've just mentioned it. So they've what Marvel have stated is that phases 4 to 6 are the Multiverse saga, which kind of really, did it start with Spider-Man No Way Home?
It would have to have started with No Way Home,
or movie-wise, but actually maybe like Loki as well. So Loki touched on the multiverse.
Yes, but Spider-Man originally was supposed to come out before Loki did. So I'm still gonna go with, just because timing got off because of COVID, but like I would say Multiverse started with No Way Home.
Yeah, so that's where it started, and clearly Loki and Spider-Man No Way Home were clearly multiverse type
And then of course, Strange too.
Strange, yeah. Strange too as well, which was clearly multiverse as well. But anyway, so it ends with 2 Avengers movies, which is Secret War and the Kang Dynasty. So Kang made a wasn't Kang, it was like a variant of Kang. In Loki, made an appearance at the end of Loki. So it's kind of cool.
We'll get to see him for real in Ant-Man and the Quantumania.
Yeah, so that's all going to be there. But yeah, like these films are like sort of announced so far ahead, but it makes you start. To be honest, I did start having a conversation today with my wife, like, well, who's going to be in it? Like, and she's like, well, she goes, well, all the good people aren't in Avengers anymore. I was like, well,
that's harsh, but like she's not wrong.
and I was like, yeah, but hopefully by the time we get there, you know, we'll
that's the point. They're gonna be like rebuilding the team up until 2025, right?
You know, so you know, we're going to have our new Captain America, who hopefully, because there's a new Captain America film coming, so hopefully we'll love our new Captain America as much as we did Steve Rogers. And I understand, like, you know, when people do love Chris Evans, so to have him step away, and it's always the same with any franchise where you have the lead steps away, and then they have the sort of the second person now as the first person. So I'm hoping that by the time we get there, we've got quite a cool lineup of Avengers. So
we'll see.
I reckon, though, my thing is, I reckon She-Hulk will be in the Avengers movies.
I mean, they don't have, they've got plenty of characters to pull from, basically. So I'm not too worried. It's just a matter of team chemistry. Like, you're not really going to know whether or not you love it until you see them all together. That's the thing, right?
Well, I reckon they'll have. See, I haven't seen the latest Thor yet, so I don't know how it ends. But they'd be silly to not have Jane Foster as Thor.
I mean, we'll see. We shall see how that goes. Like, it's interesting. I'm more excited, instead of like the big event films, I'm more excited about like the individual films. So I'm excited we're getting Blade. Blade is next year. Instead of like 2025. So we get Blade next year. I'm like excited, but at the same time, I'm still really bummed because like I still love the Wesley Snipes Blade films. So like it's like I'm gonna have to put that out of my mind and then just kind of go into this new Blade fresh. Like, I do love Mahershala, but you know,
I know I really wanted them to bring back Wesley Snipes, and I know like he's older now, but he's still in shape. Like he could. I mean,
he still does those Expendables movies, so
he could still be Blade, and he would be so good at being Blade. You would have to separate those Blade films off. Like it would have to be a complete reboot, but I would be down for it. Just have those Blade films be an alternate universe. You've just said you've got the multiverse. You own the property of Blade. Just say it's another Earth. Like, you know. Or don't even address those films at all if you don't want. But like, just, I don't know. Wesley Snipes should have been Blade. my
That's gonna be. I think that's probably gonna be the hardest. Like, we're gonna have to separation of like reality, right? Like, it's gonna be really hard to go. Like, you're talking about Chris Evans and separating Chris Evans Captain America versus Anthony Mackie Captain America. Like, I'm gonna have a really hard time separating the Blades. Like, that's just that's gonna be
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do like the actor who's gonna be the new Blade.
And, I love Mahershala. I mean, he was freaking phenomenal in Luke Cage. He was so good as Cottonmouth.
I remember seeing him in the original 4400 TV series. I thought he was good in that. Like, but no, I think he's a great actor. No issues with him, but it's just like Hellboy, isn't it? So you know, everybody wanted Ron Perlman, and nobody wanted Hellboy 3 with a new cast.
Yeah, with David Harbour.
Yeah, nobody wanted that. It's not, no offense to David Harbour. They just they didn't want you.
But like, you got used to it. Everybody is used to Ron Perlman as Hellboy. So I don't think David Harbour was a bad Hellboy. Like, I don't think that he was a bad character. Yeah, I've seen it.
I've not seen it.
I liked it like better than the second Hellboy.
Okay.
Just because I just thought the second Hellboy was like really terrible, but
maybe we should.
I can understand why people like get upset about it. But that's also a really close correlation. Like with Blade, we've got at least like 15 years separation, so it shouldn't be as hard of a pill to swallow, I think, for everybody else. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay, so let's move on from that. We'll stick with Marvel for now. So there's quite a few. I mean, gosh, there's loads of Marvel announcements. We'll talk about Wakanda Forever. So that trailer.
I'm so excited.
I got the tissues out.
It was so emotional. Like it was. I like. It was such a good trailer because it did not reveal anything about what is actually happening in the film. Like we got introduced to Namor. They don't actually tell you that it's Namor.
So the back of Namor, which we all knew was coming. We knew that was coming.
Yeah. But like, there's no interaction. Like, there's no indication of how they're gonna work in, Chadwick Boseman's death. Like, obviously, it happened. We saw like memorial murals hanging of T'Challa, but like, they did such a good job of giving you a trailer that gets you interested without giving anything away from the film. Like, I still have no idea what this second film was about. Like, I don't have a clue.
I guess we won't have to wait long. It comes out in November this year.
Yes, thankfully it comes out this year. So that is something to look forward to.
I will go opening weekend for that.
Yeah, for sure. I might take the day off and go see that one. For sure.
I don't know if I'll take the day off, but like I will definitely go see it straight from work. Maybe definitely. What I love about the trailer was like I can't remember the song they played now, but it was really like.
Oh yeah, it's a rendition of "No Woman No Cry" from Bob Marley.
That's it.
But it's like this really like toned down acoustic. Oh my god, it's beautiful. Like it's great.
And the song was like, oh, like God, get me now.
Yeah.
And then obviously they allude to Chadwick. Obviously, T'Challa's death, and they have obviously pictures of him up on the wall and things like that, but they don't tell you who the new Black Panther is.
But you get a glimpse. You get a glimpse of
tiny glimpse.
Yes.
I don't want them to show us before the film. I want to go into that film and not know.
That's why you're gonna have to go see this film like super fast. Like I'm assuming it's Shuri in the suit because that's how the comics track. But who knows?
I assume it's her sister, his sister, but you should never assume.
Yeah, I know, right?
So.
But it looks so good. It's one of the best trailers I've ever seen because it really does get you emotionally vested in the film, but it doesn't give away anything. We already knew Namor was coming. We already knew that they were going to have to replace T'Challa or figure out something different to get a new Black Panther in there. They introduced a couple of new characters. We get to see Michaela Cole. We get to see more of the Dora Milaje. We see the Queen step up in a new way. So it's got a lot going on, and I can't wait to like see. So at this point, it's like I don't want to see any more trailers for Black Panther. Like I just want to go and see the movie now because the closer it gets to the release date, the more and more spoilery the trailers get.
Oh, I know. They sometimes they go too far. Like sometimes you're like, there's been times where I've actually turned trailers off. I'm like, whoa, you're showing way too much.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd say I'm probably out now for the trailers for this film. I think that was enough. It was enough. But I feel like, was it going to be almost August soon? So August, September, October, it's like 3 months really. So I reckon probably in September we'll get another trailer for this. And then maybe about 2 or 3 weeks before there'll be another trailer. So I got to stay away from those trailers.
Yeah,
just going to go turn the internet off.
Yeah, just flip that switch.
Wherever the internet switch is, I'm going for it.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the other ones, it wasn't like a full trailer or anything, but Ironheart. I am super stoked about Iron Man. Obviously, was the thing that kicked off this entire MCU for everyone. So the first Iron Man film was always going to be special. And to see sort of like the correlation between the way that Riri is like forging her own suit and cutting things out and like working with scrap parts and all this stuff. I
didn't see the trailer for this. Is there a trailer that shows that?
I don't know if it's a trailer. I think it was just like stills, photos, but like it reminded me of like Tony in the cave in the first Iron Man where he's making that first iteration of the suit out of literally nothing. So I am super excited to see what they do with Ironheart. Because I don't know. I'm so excited about like this nerdy Black girl stepping into the shoes of the indelible Tony Stark. So
we were talking about this before.
Stoked about that.
Brian Michael Bendis obviously created Ironheart when he did his Iron Man run, and we were saying like, he created Miles Morales. He created, it's a white guy. I believe that he's adopted some black children. I think in real life, like,
I have no idea.
And obviously he created Naomi over at DC. The TV series didn't do so well, got cancelled after one season. Obviously Miles Morales, who everybody knows, massive character, but he's created other characters like Jessica Jones, obviously successful. So I think Brian Michael Bendis really got to give you take your hat off to him.
I think he is the exception to the rule. Like he does a good job of getting into the head of characters that are very not like him. But he is definitely the exception.
Jessica Jones, obviously strong female character. I mean, he's not a strong female. But also like he's created some really standout black characters, and I just think it's I've got the first Naomi miniseries, which I loved. I've only been collecting the recent Miles Morales series, and I'm enjoying what I'm reading. And what I love is that my two girls are playing the Miles Morales computer game, and they love it. And as well, so and just and see Ironheart. I'm actually looking forward to being able to watch this with them as well. So
that'll be fun.
Well, just obviously being the dad of
girl
children,
dad.
I think it's important to me because I've had this conversation with them. Obviously they're mixed race, and it's obviously important that it's not just one thing. It's multi stuff that we're watching. So like my oldest one was really interested in Miss Marvel the other day, and she actually said to me, "Can I read some Miss Marvel comics?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, what was that? Where did that come from? And she's like, "Do you have any?" I'm like, "No, I don't." Like, well, I could go buy something. So, but no, I'm definitely interested in that. So Ironheart, like I'm really keen to watch, but it's something I will be able to watch with my children. So I think that's pretty cool. And like you say, ties with the origins of the MCU. So, okay. So I honestly have been waiting for something. Daredevil, Born Again.
Yes.
I hope they don't mess it up.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
18 episodes.
That's a lot for one season.
Maybe
they'll be half hour, because some of the first episodes of WandaVision were only 25 minutes. So it's possible that they could go that route.
Yeah, I hope not. Like, I don't want them to be 18 episodes.
18 is kind of excessive unless they're going to do 3 seasons, unless they've just already laid out 3 seasons and they're doing 6 episodes each season.
So basically, I had to double check. It's coming out in 2024. So all I can wonder is whether they split it into 2. Like, I mean, because knowing Disney, they'll release that weekly.
Yeah.
Won't put that all up in one go. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see what they're going to do with it. But what I'm wondering is this just a one and done, like no season 2 or anything like that? So
I don't know. I think it's gonna have to be some kind of springboard, because they might not bring all of those characters over, but I don't think that they are going to leave it at just Daredevil.
I think Jessica Jones is a slam dunk. I think it's Luke Cage is a potential.
Yeah, and if they're gonna do Iron Fist, they're gonna have to completely rework it.
I wonder if that's why, and again, I've not read the comics on this, but I know that they've brought in a brand new Iron Fist. So I wonder if they will do that. So
I don't know. I always felt like they kind of messed it up a bit, because with Iron Fist and Misty Knight are like a thing. They end up eventually having kids together, I think.
I personally would love,
like they need to be the same age. They need to at least close enough in age. And I think that was where Netflix went wrong with Iron Fist. Like, he should have been the same age as Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. Like, he should have been the same age as those characters, instead of making him like this young, inexperienced, like, bratty kid, so to speak. Like early 20s bratty kid.
I would love it actually if they were to do a Heroes for Hire or Defenders series and put Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Misty Knight,
Colleen Wing.
Yeah, Colin Wing. I would love it if the four of them.
Yes.
And maybe with some new characters or bring in.
I would much prefer Heroes for Hire over Defenders. Like if Disney is going to bring all these characters in, don't redo the same old stuff. Like, give us Heroes for Hire, please.
But and they could stick maybe like a couple of other street level people in there as well.
Yeah.
Maybe people we haven't seen already, or maybe even just have some guest appearances from, say, Daredevil. I wouldn't want Daredevil to be, if they did Heroes for Hire, don't put Daredevil in it, but like maybe Echo could make an appearance like for one episode, or Moon Knight can make an appearance, like make it a real street level.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, it'd be brilliant. Anyway, I've been saying this is coming for ages. I knew it was coming.
You have.
I honestly knew. I knew it was coming.
We need to. In fact, I'm going to go back and do some research. I'm going to put it in the show notes because Mark has been talking about Thunderbolts for years.
Yeah, I do you know what annoys me even more is that I knew it was coming and I didn't go to eBay and go buy the comics so I could flip them. Like that's what annoys me even more. Like, do you know what though? In these boxes somewhere is the first 10 issues of that series, the first ever series. So I could probably flip those.
You better get out there and get digging, man.
Yeah. There's somewhere behind me is the first 10 issues. Anyway, I knew it was coming. Let's be honest, it won't be exactly page for page, but we probably will have Zemo. Who else? Who knows who else we'll have? We'll probably have what's her name? The new Black Widow. She'll probably be in there.
Oh yeah, Yelena Belova.
Yeah, she'll probably be in there. But as for who else, who knows? So I'm stoked. I would love it if it was kind of page for page out of the comics, but it won't be. So it'd be pretty cool though if they did put Red Hulk in, because Red Hulk is in a later version of Thunderbolts. Hawkeye also takes over the running of the Thunderbolts as well at one point. So Hawkeye's still around. So could we have Hawkeye and the Thunderbolts?
That's a series I never watched either.
I think personal thought is that he wouldn't be in the first movie. I think it will be very much a Zemo-led team. But I can imagine that if they carried on with Thunderbolts, that Hawkeye would be brought in to lead the team. And that would be pretty cool too, because I'll be honest, Clint Barton's been a fairly B-level character, and to see him leading a team, and that'd be pretty cool. So it was a good run. It was very, when did it come out? Like, I think originally like 97, something like that, Thunderbolts. So if you were to read those first 10 issues now, you'd probably say they're fairly terrible. But as it went on, it got a bit more serious, and I quite liked it. So there was even like, it was kind of the book that was always associated with the bad guys of the Marvel Universe. At one point, Norman Osborn was running a team and stuff like that. Like, so it was. I'm hoping that they can do well with this.
I mean, Marvel has shown that they do the team dynamic really well. So I'm gonna trust that they can make this work.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've read Thunderbolts on and off since the 90s. You've obviously no experience with Thunderbolts, but from what I've told you, do you think it's something you'd like?
Yeah, because I usually like the bad guys more than I like the good guys. So a team of bad guys like pretending to be good guys doing things, like I'd be down for that.
Yeah, so that's what happened. So I mean, spoilers here. So the first issue of Thunderbolts, they're all pre-existing Marvel villains. They've all got new costumes pretending to be superheroes. And then the final few pages, a character called Citizen V takes off his mask, and he's actually Zemo. And then they all take off all their masks, and they're basically all bad guys.
It's like the Suicide Squad.
Well, yeah, but the Suicide Squad are made to go out. These are bad guys that have decided to be good guys for bad guy reasons. So what happened was there was an event, which you've probably heard me talk about, called Onslaught, in which all the Marvel superheroes got shifted off to a parallel Earth, essentially. So there's a big vacancy for superheroes. So Captain Zemo comes up. Sorry, Captain Zemo. Zemo comes up with this whole thing of they've all pretending to be superheroes. So that basically they can infiltrate the government and Shield and stuff like that. But then as the team goes on, a divide happens between the team, where some of them like being good guys, and some of them are just doing this for a means to an end. So obviously a split will happen in the team, and some of them decide to stay good guys, but kind of like on the run as the secret comes out and stuff like that. And then the ones that obviously, are villains, well, equally they stay villains. So I think obviously the story goes round and round in circles. Like you'll see different alliances change as the book goes on. But yeah, it was a pretty cool idea. I thought it was quite a unique idea to. You read sort of 40 pages of these people being superheroes, then they all get back to their base, and then they suddenly reveal that they're villains. It was a really good twist. So I don't think they'll be able to get away with that twist, if I'm honest, in the movies.
Well, because we know all these characters now.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to get away with that, but we'll see, I guess. So,
but yeah, it doesn't have to be a surprise. I mean, it doesn't have to be a surprise. Like, you look at stuff like I said, the Suicide Squad. You look at stuff like The Boys. Like, people are now more and more used to bad guys doing good things. So I think it'll be an easy sell, honestly.
I think to be honest, they should just go in with them just being villains, and someone's recruited a bunch of villains and put them together or whatever. I don't know. Like, my one non-Marvel thing that I was excited about. So, by the way, I did watch the trailers for Shazam, Black Adam.
Yeah. And The Rock descended into Hall H in his full Black Adam costume to surprise everyone.
I mean, he is cool. Absolutely loving it.
He is such a showman. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I saw oh crap, I'm terrible. What's that guy that he always does stuff with?
Kevin Hart.
Yeah. I saw an interview the other day, Kevin Hart and The Rock. It's flipping hilarious.
They are the funniest duo. It is insane how hilarious they are together.
Kevin Hart was ribbing The Rock about how he's like a billionaire, The Rock. And he's like, and you've just bought your mum a house now. Like, and he's like, oh, sorry, Mr. Billionaire over there. You've just gone and bought your mum a house for a couple $100,000. Like, oh, let's have a round of applause, and all this. And he honestly, but actually, The Rock was actually laughing along, and he's like, in the end, he goes, well, no, actually, this is the third house I bought. But I did think it was quite humorous. So
I love them together. They are so funny. It is it's just nothing but belly laughs whenever they're together.
But no, I did watch all of those things. Yes, I love them all. But my non-Marvel thing, Walking Dead, the story that never ends.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I'm glad they've announced this, because I have been getting more and more annoyed with what is going on with these flipping movies. This Rick Grimes trilogy that was meant to happen, that was never gonna happen. I don't get and they've had to allude to Rick throughout The World Beyond, and all the other stuff, and this CRM organization, and you're like, well, look, when are the bloody movies coming out? You said 3 years ago about these movies. From what I'm aware, they've never even started making the movies. They clearly haven't started making the movies. So they clearly, I mean, they may have written a script or something, but I think they must have just thought, look, F this. So
I mean, I think it makes sense. I totally agree. It's the series that never ends. It is basically a zombie at this point. It just doesn't die. And but Rick and Michonne are the two most popular characters. Hell yeah, give them a spinoff. You have been talking about Daryl and Carol having a spinoff for the longest. Who wouldn't want to see the two most popular characters in their own spinoff? Come on. Hell yeah. I would love to see Rick and Michonne.
So 6-episode miniseries coming out, which is going to reunite them. I don't know what else is that Jada, whatever her name is, who left with Rick. I assume she'll be in it. Hopefully they'll resolve the stupid CRM storyline that's been going on for ages. I don't know, but what I would like, and I'm assuming because Michonne, the actress who plays Michonne, what's her name?
Denai Guerrera.
I'm assuming because she's doing so well, probably won't want to do more than one series. So hopefully this will tie the knot on Rick and Michonne, and they'll sail off into a sunset and never be seen again.
Yeah, live happily ever after with their kid.
Yeah, kids. I'm hoping that's the end of it. But it'd be nice though to finally sort this out. He went off in a helicopter, and we know he's alive, and we know that Michonne went off to find him because she found a clue about him. So
she gonna go get her man. That's what she gonna do.
Yeah. So they also dropped trailers for the rest of season 11 of The Walking Dead. They also dropped a trailer for Tales of the Walking Dead. I mean, It's crazy.
They also did more stuff for speaking of franchises that just don't die, like Game of Thrones. They started doing more stuff with that trailer with that franchise. We got a whole bunch more information about the Rings of Power for the Amazon and Lord of the Rings series that they're doing.
For that. I watched the trailer for that. I'm really not interested in it.
Me neither. Which says a lot because I used to be so obsessed with Lord of the Rings.
I think I'll probably watch the first episode just to see.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like you can't have an opinion unless you have done it yourself.
Check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch the first episode, but it looks cheap. I know I'll say that. Like,
ooh, wow, a lot. Really?
But personal opinion. Okay. It looks cheap. Well, I guess cheap compared to the movies, but like.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course. Like Peter Jackson basically had like an unlimited amount of money to make those work.
He rang them up. I need another $1 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I need another 10. Yeah, sure, Peter. Look.
Whatever you need.
Here's the checkbook. We'll make you a signatory on the bank account. Yeah. You just write the checks. No, I honestly, it just looks cheap. Like,
dang, what a burn to Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, I know they got a lot of money, but they didn't have the same money as the films. So.
No, of course not.
But I'll watch the first episode. I will form an opinion. But anyway, have you got anything you want to add about STC?
No, they released the trailer for Dungeons and Dragons, which
I didn't
honestly I wasn't interested in, but like the trailer looks so fun. Like I've never played Dungeons and Dragons.
Cartoon. No, I never have. But did you see the cartoon from the 80s?
No, I never watched the cartoon either. But like when they first announced this cast, I was like, damn, that is just such a random, like that's a bunch of random people. Like, I don't know how this is gonna work. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, okay. All right. Like, I love Chris Pine. I love Chris Pine so much. And he just, I don't know. So that is on my radar now. It was not before, but it is now. So we'll see how that goes.
Right. Final thoughts, or should we move on?
No, I mean, I think it's starting to feel like the before times, right? Like this
before COVID.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
pre-monkeypox.
Oh God, don't please. one pandemic at a time, please. So it just is really starting to like the hype is starting to come back, like, and I'm starting to get like excited about the nerd stuff again. So it seems like schedules are starting to fall into place. So it just kind of feels like you actually have something to look forward to coming up, obviously over the next 4 years.
Oh yeah, no. Let's just hope monkeypox doesn't ruin it for us all.
Please.
Do you know what would be cool? Like if monkeypox like made you a monkey. That's a disease.
No,
that's a disease.
Incorrect. No, I cannot. At all. No, thank you.
Well, I mean, that would be something to be flipping.
That is like something from District 9, where like you get alien blood on you and then you turn into an alien. Like, no, thank you. No.
But when you hear about a disease like monkeypox, though, you think, crap, man. Like, am I going to grow a tail? What's going on? You just think, where do they get these names from?
I have no idea. I'm supposed to be getting on a long haul flight coming up here in like a month, and the last thing I want to be thinking about is another freaking pandemic. Yeah,
growing a tail. Like, honestly, like it's only because like COVID. That sounds like a virus, right? But monkeypox, that just sounds like something from a film. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like monkeypox, swine flu. I don't know.
Yeah, swine flu as well. Like, would that make you a pig? Like,
yeah, no, it makes you sick as a dog. That's what it does.
I was just thinking maybe they should rethink their names.
Yeah, they should.
I mean, I don't know. As soon as I heard about monkeypox, I honestly thought, I know this isn't possible, but how cool would it be if it turned into a
not cool. It would not be cool at all.
No, not forever. Not forever. Like maybe it turned you into a monkey like for a week or two. Like,
no, thank you.
Get over it.
Like,
maybe I watch too many sci-fi films.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're having a hard time separating reality here, sir. Although it's getting serious though, because the WHO just declared it as a state of emergency around monkeypox. So we're definitely gonna have to keep an eye on that.
I'm not listening to any of that now. I'm done with this virus thing. Like, I want to go out. I want to see people. Like,
I just gotta be careful. Whatever shots I gotta get to get on a plane, like just go ahead, shoot me up. Like,
just do it. Do your thing. Anyway, I think it's probably watching all these creature films that's made me think from monkeypox to Finding Beasts or Fantastic Beasts, not Finding Beasts.
All right, nice segue there.
Yeah, nice segue. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Directed by David Yates. Screenplay is by J.K. Rowling. Based on
the one book.
One book. Fantastic
one book.
Beasts and Where to Find Them.
5 films.
Well, 3 at the moment.
3 so far. We got 2 to go.
By J.K. Rowling. So, who's in it?
Oh boy, so we're still in the wizarding world. We got a whole new cast. We got Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander, Catherine Waterston as Tina Goldstein, Dan Folger as Jacob Kowalski, Alison Sudol as Queenie Goldstein, Ezra Miller. That's a whole other fucking conversation, that guy. Ezra Miller as Creedence Barebones, Samantha Morton as Mary Lou, Carmen Ejogo as Serafina Pickery, and both Colin Farrell and Johnny Depp play Grindelwald in this first film.
So just before we go any further, we're going to just run over the facts, the numbers, etc. Then we're going to talk about films. Right. Okay. So budget of 150 million US dollars, 250 to 200 billion. Worldwide box office made 114 million US dollars.
814.
So sorry, 814. Sorry.
814.
Sorry, my glasses are not. I can read without glasses. Anyway. Okay, all right. We're gonna just, like I said, talk about the cast, and then we'll move. Then we'll talk about the films. Right. So, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, also directed by David Yates, screenplay by J.K. Rowling, was obviously based off the one book, as we said.
Yep. So we get some new faces in this one. In addition to the other people, we also get Zoe Kravitz as Lita Lestrange, Callum Turner as Theseus Scamander, Claudia Kim as Nagini, William Nadelum as Yusuf Kama, Kevin Guthrie as Abernathy, and Jude Law steps into the shoes of Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore.
He's back as Brian. Right, okay. So on a budget of 200 million US dollars, it made at the box office way less. 655 million US dollars.
Pretty much, yeah, 655. Wow, can you imagine looking at that number, 655 million, and thinking what a disappointment.
They probably did though.
I'm sure they did.
But they still carried on.
Yeah, they did. Well, because they are contracted for 5. It's their fault. Originally, they said they wanted to do a trilogy. J.K. Rowling kind of convinced them, hey, but I got 5 in me. So Warner was like, okay, fine, 5. So we'll see.
I wonder if they could put their foot down on that, because anyway,
that depends on what the contract says.
Well, they might have a huge exit fee.
Yeah, because I was gonna say they might end up having to pay her more money if they cancel at this point.
So the Fantastic Beasts: The Secret of Dumbledore, which came out this year. So
it was originally slated for 2020, and of course, COVID.
Yeah.
So
directed by David Yates again. Screenplay is by J.K. Rowling and Steve Kloves. I wonder if they said, J.K., you need some help.
Well, yeah, because Steve did all of the Harry Potter films, all 8 of them. So new faces in this film. We get Jessica Williams as Lolly Hicks, Victoria Yeats as Bunty, and in the revolving Grindelwald door, we now have Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald.
Okay, so to be fair, this film has come out just as COVID is ending.
Yeah.
So the budget was 200 million US dollars, pretty much the same budget for all 3 films.
Yep.
Box office 405.2 million US dollars.
Yeah. That is by far, by a good 200 million plus, the lowest grossing of all of the Wizarding World films, all of them.
Now, I mean, I know, so to jump back now, cover off a couple of things here. We've obviously lost Grindelwald, been played by multiple people. Probably doesn't help. Whilst all 3 actors are high standard actors, Colin Farrell and so on are all high caliber, they're all strong actors. It probably doesn't help to constantly lose your villain.
Yes.
I get why they did it in the first one, because Grindelwald was able to interact with the cast in secret. I get why they did it.
Right.
But I kind of feel like maybe they should have just gone back to Colin Farrell.
Yes, I agree.
and because that way, like, it would have been less confusing. I don't know. So
I would agree with that. I love Mads Mikkelsen. I really do. I think he is a fantastic actor, and he is an even better villain. But it did not make sense to me why Warner didn't just pay Colin Farrell whatever he asked for to get him back for the third film, because we were already familiar with his character. There would have been no kind of, separation or like suspension of belief at all if Colin Farrell just came right back. Like,
whilst I get that they did it to separate themselves from the court case between with Amber Heard and
Johnny Depp,
Johnny Depp. Now, I still think people would have been on board if you got Johnny Depp for, say, one scene, just to show Johnny Depp change into Colin Farrell.
Yeah, put him some polyjuice potion or something.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, or even if they really wanted to have Mads Mikkelsen, just to show the change.
Right.
But the fact that they didn't address it annoyed me. But also, probably from an outsider's point of view, like people just who are casual viewers, like, to show your villain constantly changing faces, it's not really good. I think,
I mean, I think they handled it at the very beginning of the third film as well as they could have, because the third film opens with a conversation between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, and they just, that way who you're talking to. Like, it's not a question, because of course, like, when Mads steps onto the screen, you're like, who the hell's this guy? But because they have that conversation at the very beginning of the third film, like, it sets the tone. It's like, okay, this guy's Grindelwald now, obviously. And I think if you have seen the first two, you're just going to go ahead and assume that he's just wearing a new face, because that's kind of what he did in the first one. So it makes sense, and I can see why they did it the way that they did, and just kind of said it at the beginning, and then just that was it. They didn't address it anymore. Honestly, I think that's probably the best way they could have handled it.
Okay, so we had that. That's our issue number one for why these films potentially track less each film. I think the other one, and I guess it depends. Doesn't depend on anything. J.K. Rowling obviously is not making good press for herself. So Warner Brothers probably can't be too happy with that. Now, I don't know. Like, I don't know how this translates into people saying, "Right, I'm not going to go to the cinema," if that's an obstacle for people. But I assume that there's going to be an element of people not going to the cinema because of what she's saying.
Yeah, because at first she was praised for being so progressive with making Dumbledore gay. Like, it was she went back and said it was alluded in the original Harry Potter series that Dumbledore might have been gay, but never really confirmed. And then obviously in this film, like, literally he's like, I did this because I was in love with you, when he's talking to Grindelwald. And so there's very much no question. There is no secrecy. Nothing is hidden. It's very blatant. Like, Albus Dumbledore is gay. And everybody was just like, oh my God, this is so amazing. It's the biggest franchise in the world. And like, yada, yada, and it's got a gay character. And then JK, in her, everyday life, decided to open her mouth and have some really negative and not flattering things to say about the transgender community. And ever since then, it's kind of like, where do we go from here? Like, opened your mouth and now you keep digging your own hole, but you've got an entire franchise behind you that is now suffering because of you.
So I read the other day that the real life version of Quidditch has now changed its name to Quadball to distance itself from J.K. Rowling.
Right.
So I don't like, and apparently there's like 650 teams.
At a charity auction, they had first edition signed copies of Harry Potter, and they did not sell at all. Can you imagine?
Wow. Yeah.
Did not sell. Not like, nobody made any kind of offers on them at all whatsoever.
Okay, so those are sort of issues selected around the film. The third issue, I would say, COVID probably did have an impact on sales.
Definitely.
So had we not had COVID, we probably could have assessed the numbers on the third film differently. But I think, you change the villain, J.K. Rowling making a terrible name for herself, and COVID has probably hit this franchise, unfortunately, not well. And I would say its fourth issue for me is that the main cast established in film one by film three are background characters, and you've kind of where Dumbledore was a background character in number two and not in number one, he's now the main character in number three. So people might, you wouldn't expect Harry Potter to have been sidelined by book 7.
Right.
So, with Newt and Jacob, and I mean, Tina was barely in the third one.
Tina was in the third one for all of 3 minutes.
And like basically this cast that you kind of fell in love with in film 1, by film 3 are really, the time on screen is a lot more diminished to push the whole Dumbledore Grindelwald storyline. So I think that's the other problem with this as well, is the revolving door of cast, not revolving door of cast, the revolving screen time of cast. Is very much, the scale is very much tipped away from the cast established in film 1. So that's kind of what I would say are the problems in this 3-movie franchise that we've seen. I do know it has been signed up for 5 films altogether. I remember that being announced. Now I did read that Warner Brothers are sitting on the fence whether to go forward with a 4th and a 5th film. So potentially
it's a hard sell at this point for them.
I would imagine.
I would also add to what you just said about the revolving characters. I also think one of the problems with this franchise is the first film is so centered on Newt, and it shows Newt's relationship with all of these beasts that he comes across, and you lose that sense of like magic, so to speak, as these films progress. And I think if you set that tone in the first film, that should have been the thread that continues while this whole Grindelwald thing is like background. But they completely flipped the script. And so by the second film, it is now a character film about Grindelwald versus a film about this awkward guy who like is a magizoologist. You know what I mean? Like you completely changed the purpose of the films to me. And I think that was problem. And that was just one of the things that it progressively got harder and harder to enjoy the films as much as I watched them.
I'd say.
Because like they lost all the magic that they had. Like the first film just feels so magical. Like you get to see all of these beasts, you get to see the way that they move, and they're new beasts that we didn't get to see in the Harry Potter franchise. So it's like you're getting introduced to this whole separate world all over again. And by the time we get to the second film, all of that is background, and it's just like a rehashing of the same kind of creatures that we already met in the first film. So there's not as much reinvention going on in the second films.
Definitely. I think this franchise has got a few issues, but so I would say we're going to just talk about these films in slightly shorter capacity. So first film, start with the rating. What would you rate it, first film?
Oh, are we still doing out of 10 or are we back to 5?
No, so we can do 10.
First film out of 10, I'd give it a 6.5.
Okay. I would give this, I'd probably give it an 8.5, I think.
Oh wow.
I love this film. The first film I have watched 10 times, something like that. I love this film. Like this to me felt very much like a Harry Potter movie. Like this felt very much set in the Harry Potter world. It was very easy to watch. It was easy entry, despite even if you didn't watch any of the Harry Potters, it was very easy family film. It was just a nice movie. I loved the introduction of Newt and Jacob and Tina and Queenie, and I loved how that foursome sort of organically came together. I love the setting of New York. I love the fact that we got to see the little differences from like the Nomadge and
Muggles.
I love we got to see the American Ministry of Magic.
Finally American wizards.
Yay! I got to see just all of that kind of stuff, and I love the introduction of the magical creatures, and I even love Newt sort of. Newt was like a magical Columbo, wasn't he? He's like a bumbling idiot, but adorable at the same time.
But almost like a savant kind of.
I love that whole movie. I love the briefcase. So you step into the briefcase with this whole other world. Everything about it was great. So for me, actually, hold on a second. So I was going to say my favorite character in the first movie is Jacob, like hands down. To be honest with you, Jacob's probably my whole favorite character for the whole of the 3 films. But Jacob definitely. And for magical creatures, I love the little creature that nicks all the money and all the gold.
The Niffler,
yeah. He's like my favorite character. Honestly, there's so much about this movie I loved. I mean, I love stuff pretty much set in New York as it is. Like I'm definitely like a huge New York fan. I love. Like I watch things like Gossip Girl because it's set in New York. Like And I will watch things because of its setting. When they moved Ray Donovan to New York, I was like, brilliant. Like, I loved Ray Donovan anyway, but like when things are set in New York, that is a huge attachment for me. But like having this whole Harry Potter sort of nice family movie, and it was easy watching, I felt like. So I don't know, there was just something really quaint about the whole film. I don't know, I loved it. Like, I loved everything about this film. So
I did
it's
not
a
have
really
that
nice
same
film.
sense of nostalgia that you did for this
Yeah.
first film. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first film. I really did like the characters. Newt was definitely like my favorite, but like right behind him, like very close to him, was Colin Farrell playing Graves.
Yeah.
I just thought he was such a good bad guy. Like, I he was a really good foil to me, to the nice lovable characters that we had, like with Newt, and especially someone like Queenie and Jacob, because they just and he was just so diabolical, and it was so dark and underhanded. And like, there's one scene toward the end of the first film where Credence is very much like, I don't know what's going on, I can't understand what's happening, and he's like having a breakdown, and Colin Farrell's Graves literally like slaps the shit out of this guy, and it's like, I am not interested in what you have going on. Like, I need to find the person that I'm looking for, and you're the only one that can help me. So can you get your shit together? And it's just kind of like, I love it. I love the edge that he brought to this kind of villain. And he just kind of had so much presence on screen to me. So between him and Newt, they were the best characters to me in this first film. And as far as favorite creatures, it's definitely the bowtruckle, the little like piece of plant that sits in Newt's pocket. Oh my god, I love that thing. It's so cute. But I just, like I said, I loved learning about these animals. Like, that was my favorite part, and that's kind of what drew me into the series. And
definitely.
The more we got into like the story of the wizards themselves, it was like, honestly, like, you gave me animals first, and now I'm more interested in the animals and less interested in the people. So I wasn't looking for a character story. I really kind of loved the idea of, this is this thing, like that big snake-like thing. I can't remember the name of it now, but the one that's like, it transforms or it grows to fit the space around it. So like, it could fit in a teapot, but it could also like take up that entire building. Like, stuff like that I thought was so cool. So like, that kind of element is what I loved the most about this first film.
Yeah, I would say I agree with that. Like, I love the fact that in the Harry Potter franchise, okay, we get a taster of these things throughout each movie.
Yeah.
But it was never about that. It was about Harry Potter learning to go from a child who knew nothing about magic to a really strong, powerful wizard who could take down Voldemort, and the journey of the school and all that kind of stuff. And fine, we get to find out little bits about magic as we're going,
But Harry Potter was a character story set in a magical world, whereas Fantastic Beasts felt like it was a creature story.
Yeah.
But then it turned into a character. Like, it flipped the script. Like, it changed within the franchise, which is annoying.
So the second movie, what's it called? Crimes of Grindelwald. Yeah, Crimes of Grindelwald. So that's moved location, now set in Paris. We get a little bit more. We get Dumbledore. We do get a little bit of Hogwarts, which is cool. Unnecessary, but cool.
Yeah.
So,
although I thought it was really cool that as soon as they open up to that big like sweeping shot of Hogwarts, we get the original Harry Potter theme play, which I think is super nostalgic. So I did enjoy that element. Like, just the cinematography of going to Hogwarts for the first time in this franchise was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, they bring Hogwarts back in the third film as well.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, we don't really need to go. Like, let's be honest, when we're adults, who goes back and visits their old school like that often? Like, I think I went back to my old senior school like once after
I have never in my life been back to my high school. I didn't even go back to my high school to pick up my diploma.
I did pop back in because I wanted to see one of the teachers to ask them a question about something. But that was it. Anyway, so this film set in Paris. We've now Grindelwald, obviously, is no longer Colin Farrell, and it's Robert Bronnet. Oh, what's his name? Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp. God. No, Johnny Depp, not Robert Downey Jr. I don't know where I got that from. Iron Man's on my head. So Johnny Depp. I thought Johnny Depp played Grindelwald really, really well.
Yes.
Like, he was a super cold-blooded villain.
Yeah.
Like,
Johnny Depp is one of the greatest character actors of this generation, if not the greatest.
I think Colin Farrell, although the same character, seemed like he had a bit more heart. But Johnny Depp, that scene,
stripped all of it away.
With the child.
Oh man,
that was dark. That was dark.
Also, I thought it was really interesting. They didn't use the killing curse. Like they used something different to kill people in these films. So there is no Avada Kedavra, which I don't know. Maybe they explain that in the books, but I thought that was interesting that there is another type of curse that you can use to kill people.
Oh yeah, that was creepy. But yeah, so throughout this movie, it was, I would say, a filler film. It definitely felt like what is it? Well, like a stepping stone type movie. And it's like, as we explained, it completely upended what we already had in the first film. So the four main characters, obviously Newt, Tina, Jacob, and Queenie, are very much, whilst they're in this film and maybe have one or two scenes together as a foursome, they're split up very quickly. So Jacob and Queenie basically separate quite quickly in the movie. We find out that Jacob does remember everything from the first film, or mostly. He remembers all the good stuff, and he
I was gonna say they found a unique way to explain that away, so that was cool.
So they said basically he remembered the good stuff, and Queenie filled him in on the bad parts.
Yeah.
So, and then because Queenie's kind of like, using some magic on him, they have a little tiff at the beginning. Queenie goes one way and Jacob ends up staying with Newt, and it becomes like a bit of a buddy thing. Tina will join them later on. And it's essentially to take down Grindelwald. We find out really that Dumbledore's pulling the strings because Dumbledore and Grindelwald were in love at one point and made a pact to never fight each other, kill each other, or anything like that. So they're both actually, Grindelwald and Dumbledore, are pulling strings to kill each other. So he's trying to get Credence to kill Dumbledore, and Dumbledore's trying to get Newt to take down Grindelwald. So they're both puppeteers. So,
yes.
But I did think Jude Law as Dumbledore was brilliant, outstanding.
Yes, he was. Honestly, he really was
so good.
He's my favorite. Dumbledore is my favorite character in the second film.
Yeah, no, although he's hardly in the second film, he was very strong with his role in it. And but yeah, so no, I really enjoyed I enjoyed the second film, but it was very much a filler film for me. I thought the action scene at the end was pretty cool though, where obviously quite a few people lost their lives. And yeah, so like, what was I gonna say? Right, okay, so okay, so I didn't really write down a favorite character for the second film. I just didn't. Probably would say same as you, Dumbledore was the strongest, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
because he's hardly in it. So, which says he's a really strong actor, Jude Law. I think he's stronger than most of the cast that are in it.
Yeah.
But I would say Johnny Depp as well. So I would say Grindelwald and Dumbledore are my two favorite characters in this movie.
Yeah, but it's a shame that they don't really get that kind of face off against each other. Which not in this film.
Yeah, not would have come, but yeah.
Yeah. But like I really loved the opening sequence, which is when Grindelwald makes his like jailbreak as he's being exchanged from the American ministry to the British Ministry of Magic. And I thought that was really cool, but it also shows you how cruel Grindelwald is, because he ends up throwing out his own creature that helped him escape. And it's just kind of like, I love the way that this film, and even though I really wanted it to be more about creatures, I really did love the way that this film does such a good job of painting Grindelwald into this like awful character. So I thought that the setup for the villain was done really well. Like, yeah, he's in the first one, but like not really. Like he's a sheep or wolf in sheep's clothing kind of. But in this one, he gets to be his full like villainous self. And I thought that they gave him the space to do that well, but that's just not what I wanted out of this film, I think. And it just
that scene you're referring to, I thought was pretty cool, where Johnny Depp's on the outside the carriage. I thought that was a twist. I'll be honest, I wasn't particularly a fan of the fact that Queenie abandoned her friends and joined Grindelwald.
She was blinded by love. Grindelwald said that he was going to make it so that people could do what they wanted, and if she wanted to marry a Muggle, then she could. because that was illegal. Like that was illegal in the US for for witches and wizards to be with no mages. So
no, I know. So what would you rate the second film?
This one I'd give it a 4.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm probably down with you.
I also didn't like how heavy this film got, because like I understand that the whole point is like they're trying to figure out a way to kind of like stop the discrimination between muggles and wizards, but like I did not like that in the second film we get an entire backstory where a wealthy white guy is obsessed with a wealthy black woman, enchants her, kidnaps her from her own family, rapes her, and then has a kid, and then like tosses her out. Like I absolutely hated that entire backstory for Lita Lestrange. Like I just thought that was so unnecessary. Like I get it. Like from the Harry Potter films too, like we understand that there is this underlying sort of like the purebloods don't want wizards mixing with anybody else. Like we get that that prejudice has been part of the series from the very beginning, but like this film put that on display in such a way, but it was not handled well. It just came off as really like fetishy, and it was just kind of like, this is gross.
It was an unnecessary backstory. Like they're trying to make her backstory and Credence's backstory mysterious.
Right.
Still could have done that without having this.
Yeah.
Because like families watch these films. Like, and I don't know. Like, I mean, I know they get darker. It's the same with the Harry Potter movies; they get darker. But
yeah,
did it need to get that dark?
No, it didn't. It didn't. You could have accomplished the same thing without making it feel so gross. Like, I mean, the woman could have just left her husband. Like she could have equally fallen in love with this other guy, right? Like it didn't have to be this really kind of gross, like, I hated that part of this story. And again, I know that the whole point was kind of like to put the prejudice and like the racism and all of that stuff on display, but like I did not appreciate the way that was handled in this film. And so once they got to that point, and like you knew it was coming, like when you realized that Lita and Kava had that connection, I was like, some shady shit went down. If y'all are siblings, but like y'all are this, you have this much animosity towards each other. Like, so I just, again, I mean, I see what point JK was trying to convey, but like, that was not handled well at all. And it just came off so gross and unnecessary. So that was part of the reason why I didn't enjoy this film as much. It was kind of like this, it's all tainted by this just overbearing story of like blatant racism.
I think I would go in with 4 out of 10 for this. So
okay.
I didn't really enjoy this film that much. And so third film, which obviously came out this year, The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Yes.
I'll start my rating straight away. I'll probably go 7 out of 10 on this one. So I did not love that Tina is not in this film.
Yeah, that was why. Like, was there a contract dispute? What happened?
I googled it, tried to find an answer. So yeah, okay, she's in it for maybe I think 2 scenes. I think.
Yeah, at the very end.
We're at the very end, and both scenes non-speaking.
No, she says something to Newt.
Did she say something? I didn't catch that then.
Yeah, she does at the end. Because, well, right before they go to the wedding, basically it's just a greeting, though. It's a greeting. That's it.
Yeah, it was very much like, almost felt like she's not bothered about it.
Right.
So they say in the film that she's been promoted in the American Ministry of Magic, and now she's too busy to save the world.
Yeah, she's the head of the Auras now.
Yeah, right. She'd clearly be there.
Yeah, as the head of the Aura, you could delegate some shit so that you can hang out with your friends. Yeah. Like, come on now.
Yeah, you definitely would, bugger off or whatever, like, so you'd definitely be like, look, I'm taking some holiday, like whatever you've got to do. Like, if you're high up, you can definitely say I'm off. Anyway, it was a crap excuse. So I googled it, couldn't find any real answer. They kind of said it could be multiple things. Nobody seems to have said anything. It could be because that the story has shifted now to Grindelwald versus Dumbledore, and perhaps she wasn't the character wasn't needed. I mean, maybe. It could be also that the filming schedule got moved because of COVID. Could be that too. But yeah, I literally couldn't find anything to say why she wasn't in it. And if anyone's listening does know the answer, we'd love to know.
Yeah, let us know, please.
Yeah, because it really bugged me, and I kept hoping that she was going to come in it because I saw on IMDb she was in the movie, so I was like, oh, okay, maybe she's going to come in like halfway through, like and save the day or something like that. Or and as the movie kept going on, I was like,
but see, that's another problem too with this franchise. Like, you wrote one book and you have broken one book into 5 films. When Warner said originally, like, we can do this in a trilogy, like, you have given yourself too much space to tell the story. So maybe they wanted to have that little bit of angst between Tina and Newt before they eventually get together. But it's like, you drew this out for an entire film now. Like, what was the purpose of that? Why did we do this that way?
I do feel like this story was Grindelwald versus Dumbledore. This is what the last film built up to. I don't feel that this is what the first film built up to.
Not at all.
So the first film was like a separate story. With Grindelwald, but it could have been Newt versus Grindelwald, to be honest. And then the second film became obviously the puppeteer. And then with Newt and everything. This third film was kind of like Newt and everybody was pushed to a lower level. I would say obviously that Jacob, out of the 4 original characters, is now almost like the lead above the 4 of them. The fact that he buddies up with Dumbledore several times, and I thought we had this quite nice moment between Dumbledore and Jacob at the end. And also the film ends in a wedding with Queenie and Jacob, which we've been building to from the first movie, and like you said was illegal previously. I thought that was actually quite a nice thing to end with the movie. And this battle with Grindelwald and Dumbledore, we knew neither of them were going to die because of Harry Potter 7. We saw that there was a flashback.
Grindelwald's ass is in Azkaban. That's why.
Yeah, and obviously like an older character as well, like an older actor played it. So we know Grindelwald is going to survive. So for me, the film kind of really came to a nice conclusion. Like if you're going to make it about Grindelwald versus Dumbledore, it kind of got tied up nicely. And I although I'm a bit disappointed that Newt and Tina didn't get together, for me, I'm happy for this to be it. Like I don't know. It kind of felt like it was tied up as nice as it could do. So
I enjoyed this one better than the second one, but not better than the first one. I think.
No, I agree. Yeah,
it definitely got better about being less overbearing. Like this one, while the last one was like overtly, I mean, it just talked about like discrimination and prejudice like outright. This one sort of moved into politics and like the backhanded ways that those policies are instated. And it was cool to see like the politics of the wizarding world, like to get to go to Germany and see the German ministry and be in Paris and the Paris ministry, like just kind of like see all of these different governing bodies of the wizarding world. That was kind of cool, but again, it lost its charm. Like the franchise started on a very charming note, and the films that follow that first film do not capture any of the tone of the first film at all. So it just feels like it's like a bait and switch. Like you pulled me in because I love the idea of getting to know more about the creatures in this world. And then you switch it up and now it's become this big, like good versus evil kind of thing. And I get it. Like you have to have some kind of conflict, but the conflict, I don't know, it just doesn't have any kind of payoff. Like I get it. They're trying to do 5 films, but at the same time, like each film should have some kind of independent payoff before we get to the next film.
Like we have with Harry Potter.
Potter, exactly.
Until film 6, the first 5 were very much independent. Whilst we had Voldemort teased.
Yes, but they end. Each film has an ending.
Yeah.
I don't know why there's such a disconnect here. I really don't. I just originally I read somewhere that Warner proposed that this should be a documentary. Like, hey, we're going to take this book and we're going to make it a documentary where we basically are following Newt on his travels around the world to collect all of these animals. Like, and seeing what we have now versus reading about the original like documentary format, I think the documentary format might have been a little bit better because it would have been completely different than anything we had with Harry Potter. But also, like, if you are trying to give us a broader view into this entire world, I mean, they named this shared world the Wizarding World, right? Like it's like the MCU, it's the Wizarding World. So like, give us the view into the Wizarding World and not so much into the people. Like, we want to know more about the world itself, and the franchise has completely gotten away from that.
Yeah, I don't know. So this third film, I will rate it 7 out of 10.
That's
so the first
5 for me.
So first film I rated 8. Second film I rated 4.
8.5 for the first one is what you said.
Sorry, okay. And then this last one I do 7 out of 10. Okay. I thought it was better than the second one, but not as good as the first one.
Yeah.
Look, despite the fact that this is now not the same as the first film that started off, I did enjoy Jude Law as Dumbledore. He's really strong, really strong.
He is a fantastic Dumbledore, honestly.
He kind of stole this franchise right from under their feet. Like, Jude Law has basically stepped in and taken this away from all the other characters.
Yeah.
Mad Mikkelsen, obviously great as Grindelwald. Would have preferred some sort of explanation around the different appearance. Clearly, we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Like, I felt to me that they've ended it. They've ended this franchise. I don't want to see anymore unless they go back to what we had in the first film.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to.
I mean, I don't want any more Grindelwald. Like, or if they do, maybe they drop Grindelwald for the next film and we come back to it in the fifth film.
Or that could be, if you want people to come back to the franchise, take a film off from chasing Grindelwald, get back to the root of it, and then in the fifth film is when they capture him and put him in Azkaban.
Yeah, but then even then, I wouldn't want the whole film to be about him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe have 2 storylines running, have Dumbledore doing one thing and Newt doing another, and then maybe they tie up at the end. But what do I know?
Apparently Warner Brothers is not reaching out to the red people. So
no. So what did you rate the third one? Sorry. 6.
So this one I give it a 5.
Oh, 5.
So I did 6.5 on the first one, 4.5 on the second one, and a 5 on this one. So they're all very tight. They're all very middling to me. Yeah. Nothing exceptional. I really wanted more creatures. I love Newt. I really do. I think Newt is a really interesting character. I love that he's so gentle and tender but like has like such a sense of righteousness. I do love that about him. But like I want more of Newt, not necessarily more of this conflict between the big names. Like, I want more of this smaller story. Like, I want more about this guy who travels the world and like collects creatures.
I've got a suggestion, actually. The next 2 films, drop Grindelwald completely. New, back to the creature thing, etc. Let's move him away from politics. Let's have him and Tina. I don't want to lose Jacob. Like, maybe if we get back to the 4 of them with Queenie in 4 and 5, maybe have them go off and do some explorations, etc. Like, just have that be 4 and 5. Warner Brothers are clearly tired of HBO Max. Let's just do a 6-episode, high-budget miniseries.
Yeah, to finish off the franchise.
Yeah, no. Well, so that's what I would say. I have the Fantastic Beasts films.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The two films with Newt. Do that. Let's drop Dumbledore from those films. I mean, you have a cameo if you need to, but have a 6-episode Obi-Wan Kenobi style miniseries which focuses on Dumbledore, Grindelwald. And what you could even do is maybe even like link it up with the older one that's in Azkaban or something like that. Just kind of flash forward a little bit. That 6 episodes doesn't have to be, set over a week or 6 months. It could be set over, I don't know, 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Just, it could literally be called Grindelwald versus Dumbledore.
Because after they introduced Dumbledore, like, now we get his brother, and now I really want to know more about Ableford. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, you introduce this character and you've taken away from Newt and the Beasts altogether. And I do want to know more about Dumbledore and his family. Like, because like in that last Harry Potter film, it's kind of like when Harry has the confrontation with Ableford, and he's like, look, I don't care what kind of issues you and your brother have. Like, I trust him. So are you going to help me or not? And I would love to know like how that plays out. But like, I just don't think that this is the film. This is the place to do it.
So final thoughts on this franchise. Whilst the first film I think is a really good solo film, I could have done without the other two.
Yeah,
in all
same.
honesty, or restructured those other two, and hopefully they'll save it for what comes after. It's not to take away from the franchise. I think that the Harry Potter franchise as a whole is really intriguing, and I love the Harry Potter franchise as a whole wizarding world.
Yeah.
I one day would like to go to the theatre. I one day would like to go to the movie studios up the road from me. I have been to Universal Studios, and I did love going down Diagon Alley and all the rest of it. And I would very much love to go back to Universal and explore it some more. It's a really hot day, and obviously it's always hot in Florida. So I did go on the train. The train.
The monorail?
No, at Universal Studios they have two parks.
Never been.
Oh, they have two parks, Universal Studios, and at basically the end of either park, you can get on the Harry Potter train and you can go from one part to the other.
Oh, okay. On the Hogwarts Express?
Hogwarts Express, that's it, yeah. So the train journey itself is like 5-10 minutes. But yeah, it's still pretty cool. You can see like all the creatures flying past the window and stuff like that. So
nice.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, anyway, so that kind of brings our Harry Potter marathon to an end.
Kind of ends on a womp kind of note. But what can you do?
So next episode will be our 100th episode.
100. Wow.
2.5 years it's taken to get here.
It's been a journey.
So we've got some surprises for our 100th episode. We will not say them now, but stay tuned to social media, where obviously, nice little segue, you can follow us on social media. Geeks and Niche is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We mainly, Instagram seems to be where most people speak to us. We will put some announcements on there about 100th episode, and you can probably join us. So
dun. Yes. Yeah, and you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Google, Podbean, Apple, Spotify. We are everywhere. So please leave us a 5-star review and tell your geeky friends.
Thank you very much, and have a good journey.
Good journey.